Hello and welcome back to my new speed build. My name is Catherine Janine. Today we are building my childhood home. Surprise! So I'm going to background this. I grew up in a house that was a business on the main level, and then in the back end and then the upper level was an apartment that we rented. And then we also had this big garage, and we lived there. I think Mom started renting it maybe 2003, 2002, 2003-ish in the summer, and we moved out when I was 10, so 2008. And we moved out of the house because it was essentially a 2-bedroom plus den. The third bedroom was itty-bitty teeny tiny. We used it as an office, but you couldn't fit a bed in that room. And we were living there. There was me, my brother Brian, my brother Aiden, both my parents, and 4 cats. So the house was just too small. It was in a town that was really in the middle of nowhere, and the commute in the winter was really, really bad. So we moved when I was 10, like I said. But I decided to build the house. And a lot of this is built off memory. I did pull up the house on Google Maps, but I mean, it's changed a lot since we moved out, because when we moved out, the people who had their business in the lower level and owned the house decided to sell the house as one big unit, and so the house has been converted into a single family home. So a lot of it is also based off memory. And then when we were moving out, my mom took a lot of pictures of the inside of the house, which I used for reference for the interior. So this house was really, really old. It was at the corner of the 2 main streets, so it was probably one of the original houses to the town. And it was known as one of the main rentals in the town. Like, everybody in town had lived at that house at some point or another if you were from there. Like, I remember being in grade 1, and my reading teacher, who had to have been in her 80s or 90s, telling me that when she was a child, she lived in the house. So, yeah, it was a pretty old house. But it was also very, very tacky. I think it was renoed sometime in the 70s, and like I said, we lived there in the early 2000s. My parents did a lot of renos to the house because I think it was with the landlord's permission. They were allowed to pretty much reno however they wanted. So I remember a lot of repainting. The house didn't have a washer and dryer when we first moved in, and shortly after Brian was born, my mom had that put in. And I remember multiple rooms being painted. I remember the kitchen being renoed, the living room. My bedroom was painted very early on, I think. I know my bedroom was blue when we moved in, and pink most of the time we lived there, but I don't remember when it was painted. My mom's room was actually, I think every room in that part of the house that we rented had been painted except for the bathroom by the time we moved out. Fun fact about the house, the bathroom was a hallway. So it had 2 doors to it. And yeah, the rooms were very, very small, and it wasn't going to work for the family that we had at that time. So we moved the summer after my grade 4 year, and I don't remember a whole lot of the move. I used to go to summer camp when I was little, and I think that my mom booked my summer camp stay for right before the move, and we had our house and like our new house for probably close to 2 months when we also had the apartment. And I remember going to summer camp and coming home, and boxes worth of things would be gone and would have been moved to the new house. But we didn't move into the new house until mid-July. Now, for the lower level of the house, like I said, it was a business. It was some kind of office. I think it was a law office or something. And I only remember being in there once in my entire childhood, so I just guessed the best I could with how it looked. It doesn't really matter. I basically made it a pretty generic office. So, whatever. The upper level, like the part we lived in, is as close as I could get it. Some rooms are like a fusion of multiple rooms because, like the living room, the photos I had were post-reno, but then a lot of my memories were pre-reno. And I also remembered under the window we had a rabbit cage, which in my mom's photos there is no rabbit cage because the rabbit died when Brian was a baby, so probably about 2 years before we moved out, and those photos would have been taken right before we moved out. So I did include the rabbit cage just because most of my memories include the rabbit cage. Or like stuff like the kitchen, you'll see in the build that I initially made the kitchen how it was pre-reno, and then I did go back and edit it for post-reno to better match the photos. And I don't know if I filmed that or not, I don't remember. But we're still actually working on the landscaping. I put these trees in and then I take them out because even though the trees were there, trees in The Sims 4 make it very, very hard to play the game and see what you're looking at. So I took them out for the screenshots and I didn't put them back in. But the backyard also is nowhere near as big as it is in real life. I ran out of space on the lot. Because the backyard, that clothesline actually stretched to the end of the backyard, which was probably double the size, maybe even larger, or maybe I'm misremembering because I was little. And we had like a whole nother garden, which was like 2 levels, and that was our veggie garden, and the clothesline extended to the back of the yard. There were all these pine trees, and then there was another garden, and a compost heap, and then the house backed onto this little tiny laneway that led to a parking lot. So it was like pretty quiet despite being on like a main road. And here I am, I'm just starting to furnish. This is the kitchen that we used. Originally it was blue wallpaper, and I remember when my parents were renovating it, my mom peeled up the wallpaper and could look straight across. She could see her car in the driveway. So the part of the reason we left was the house was falling apart. The back addition there was falling off the house. See, I moved the counters up because there was an island like that when we first moved in, and I clearly remember it, but then I also remember my parents renovating the kitchen to move the counter back to that wall. So it was kind of like a fusion of the renos I remember and the day-to-day life I remember. I also didn't clutter up this build nearly as much as it was in real life, simply because clutter makes my game lag, and when I'm running the OBS software to screen capture, it is already very, very laggy, and so I didn't want to increase that lag. This house, like I said, being very, very old, was also, in my opinion, kind of haunted. Because, so, I believe in ghosts. I'm going to preference that. And I have memories of a specter, or like a ghost or something, I don't know. A woman in a blue dress walking around the upstairs hallway late at night. And I mean, like, my mom wasn't walking around in a blue dress. She was just, like, just in her pajamas or whatever. But, like, there was this older woman in a blue dress that I clearly remember walking around. And I never had, like, a babysitter or anything that would have been an older woman in a blue dress. So I'm quite certain that there was a ghost. She didn't, like, it wasn't a malicious ghost. It was just a passer-througher. So this is what I'm building here is the living room. I do go back in and completely redo it. I'm pretty sure I did not include that recording, but you'll see it in the screenshots. Yeah, it's close to my memory, but it's not how it ended up looking. And then here I'm doing the bathroom. Yeah, the bathroom was this weird, like, pink and white marbly color. Super, super tacky. The whole bathroom was pink. And then, yeah, so wonderful, wonderful pink bathroom with a closet. Oh, I was saying to my mom the other day, how in my next place, I want to take off all the closet doors and replace them with curtains. And Mom made the comment, oh, did our early decorating choices influence you that much? And I didn't even really know what she meant. And then when I was going through these photos, I realized that all the closets in this house, instead of having doors, Mom just had curtains over the opening. So that was kind of, yeah, I guess that did influence me. Here I'm building Mom's room. She had that great big giant plant. She still has it. It's in our back living room. And the running joke is that the plant, I'm going to inherit the plant. So, yeah, it's massive. It ate the stool that it sits on. So just here, I'm doing the office room, and like I said, this was like a +1 bedroom. Because of the 2 closets, it was way too small to even hold a bed. And then on to my bedroom, which we had bunk beds, Brian and I, which obviously isn't a thing in The Sims, so I just made them. I also took out the closet because I was getting frustrated with the build at this point, and I couldn't get the floor plan to work with how the exterior of the house was, and I had something wrong, but I can't figure out what it was. And yeah, just decorating it. In the pictures, I had a whole bunch of those stick-ons. Did you guys have those? They were like vinyl stick-ons, or maybe not vinyl, I don't know. But yeah, just stickers on the wall and peeled off, and they didn't hurt the paint. Now I'm doing the office. Like I said, I don't really remember the office in the in the lower level, so I just decorated like a generic office, and then we had access to this large garage. And I remember like these big shelving units. There was a TV out there. There was like a big chair or a sofa, a whole bunch of extra furniture. So I just kind of did, your basic garage things. But we're getting up to the screenshot, so I'm going to cut out here. If you like this video, please remember to like it and subscribe and leave a comment. and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!